Redtail Rogues.
Redtail Rogues.
And we are back once more. So a brief synopsis, because out of respect for the players, we're not going to post the last game because it degenerated to player versus player. Essentially, after the party fled Feral Estate, where that was under attack by a green dragon with Lady Feral, they fled to save their own skins with Tello and Titan and Ravendark. They went to Usador's private residence, where Luna had set up a private detective agency, believing that Usador's funding of the Shimodans and Luna's complicity in the funding of the Shimodans, and the fact that they had sent Artemis with the party, who turned traitor and left them all out to dry. The party did then proceed to first murder Usador the Blue Simulacrum, thinking it was him. They succeeded in murdering Luna, and
turned her body to ash.
With the withering rod and lit it on fire. So the only way it would be true resurrection if there was a part that had been saved by someone else somewhere else. Pip, wanting nothing to do with an outright and abject murder, Dimension Doored away and burned all his Dimension Door spells. Sorry, not Pip, Tello. I said Pip.
Yeah.
He used all of his third level spells, so he cast 4 Dimension Doors, which got him, I believe it was 2,000 feet ahead within 6 seconds, a 2,000 foot head start, and the party took time to talk to the guards that came and turned Luna's body to ashes. So he had a bit of a head start. He warned Usador of the incoming murder and the fate of Luna. They then lay in wait and set up a trap for the would-be attackers using Force Cage. They were able to restrain them. Unfortunately, after casting Force Cage, there is actually in the rules, there's no way to end it. I've seen some Reddit commentary of people talking about how Disintegrate gets rid of force effects. Except with Disintegrate, my rebuttal to all those people is that Disintegrate requires a target. If Force Cage is invisible, which it is, you can't target it. You can know where it is, but you can't target it. And any spell that passes to or through the thing it specifically says is dispelled. So Force Cage, once cast, there is no way out unless you can teleport. It lasted for an hour, and the party hadn't made it so that it was a semicircle, like a dome, and the people inside suffocated and died, and they fled with Lady Pharaoh, who surprisingly had turned sides, but I had her played by someone, and she really played no part in the story and was never supposed to, aside from intrigue and plot. She died en route to the Feral Estate as the voodoo armor, if you've watched the other episodes, that was made from her skin. As the battle raged, she began taking repeated damage and couldn't make it all the way there. Tello and Usador rushed on to the ensuing battle that was beginning at the Feral Estate, which actually in this timeline became the cataclysm for the war that happens in Waterdeep in the future timeline. However, because the attack happened before the cult had fully set up all their plans that they had in motion, which the party stumbled upon, although Usador died, Tello died, Ravendark died, although was successful because he brought the coup to light. Titan was the only survivor who fled somewhere into Waterdeep and never to be seen again.
Go Ravendark.
And the only thing to do, because it became player versus player and tempers flared, we are not going to post that game. But that's what happens sometimes when you go player versus player, as we all know. So the only thing to respectively do is to nuke Waterdeep from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Shout out to Sigourney Weaver. And
we're all still friends, though, guys. Don't worry, we're all still friends.
Everybody's just cool.
That particular campaign had to come to an end. That
particular
campaign.
So we turned the page to the new adventures that are taking part in Baldur's Gate. where the party of level 3 characters work for an organization called the Flaming Hand, who they serve as the land military of Baldur's Gate. I'll briefly read their
Do we have a
synopsis.
Do we have kind of a new title for this new adventure yet, or not yet?
I'm going to let the plot. I provide threads for the party to follow, and the story will evolve based on the threads that they choose, and then I'm sure a title will
manifest itself. But all in all, captive audience, this is a whole new adventure that we are beginning with new characters and a new plot. And new ways to go about it.
And that game has already happened. At the beginning of it, our session 0, we posted as episode 1. And as I said, it takes part in Baldur's Gate. Years ago, Baldur's Gate and the southern lands of Faerun, of the Forgotten Realm, were suffered a westward sweeping onslaught of orcs and goblins from the mountain ranges that was wiping out villages and human settlements and some elf settlements, although they were more seeded. The Flaming Hand formed as a mercenary band that helped protect the settlements and drove back the goblins and the orcs to the mountains from whence they came.
I just have to say it. I serve the Flaming Hand. For all you old school Baldur's Gate people, it's not quite right, but
yeah, we're not doing it. I don't do old school. I just use maps, and I like to make my own realities. So the Flaming Hand has grown in power throughout the South, and Baldur's Gate at one time had conscription. And the city politicians were violently asked to leave. There was a coup again, where they were thrown out of office, and a new government was formed on the shared belief that conscription would never again be allowed or forced upon the citizens of Baldur's Gate, as many families were torn apart, and as generally happens in war. Baldur's Gate, however, has kept a strong navy. Though their navy and naval forces, do I have a map still open here? I don't have my map. I don't need it today. In the game, the map is on the screen. There's a river, the Chitaran River, I believe it's called, that runs right by Watergate, and there's brackish water. Baldur's Gate is at the edge of where the brackish water and the water from the mainland, the fresh water mix, and sweeps out to sea. There's 5 islands, I believe, that are right by where the two meet, and then out into the Sea of Swords. So the party works for the Flaming Hand. They've either been willfully joined because they believe in the cause and believe in doing good, which the Flaming Hand does, although they are a mercenary organization and definitively not good. But other people have been offered up as payment for because they're mercenaries. There's always payment involved in the hiring and having them do the protecting of the citizenry and whatnot. They exist in Baldur's Gate once again as basically the serving military, but not the city guard. The city guard are still old militia from Baldur's Gate, and they usually stay to the upper city. So I'll read briefly the synopsis of what I put in the chat. Should I? Is that what I should do, Carl? Yeah.
You should.
Okay. And of course.
So this is basically the plot line right now of the adventure that is now ongoing.
Right. So this is something I wrote into the chat that basically gives the intro to our session 0. The story begins 3 days after the respective rites of initiation. All of the characters have all the starting equipment and afforded all level 1 characters plus 50 gold pieces, which they received as a reward for having survived the rigors of training. The Flaming Hand, to be clear, is not a benevolent organization. They are benefiting from turmoil in the region and extorting the bureaucracy of Baldur's Gate, as the independent city has not had the enlistment of the military to be prepared for the upheaval the region is facing. The citizenry revolted 5 years ago when the previous administration tried to force conscription, and that regime was ousted and punished by the angry mob. New governance was implanted on a promise that conscription would never again be considered, and only voluntary service in the militia with standardized pay conditions and fair treatment for all would be tolerated. That has led to the military numbers plummeting, because what politicians believe fair treatment of the citizenry is not reflective of fair treatment, generally speaking. That has led to the military numbers plummeting. The Flaming Hand was more than happy to take up the mantle as the city's protectors. As need for their services grew, the questions revolving around their recruitment strategy faded from the fore. Once the characters' training began, it was all-consuming. The Flaming Hand boasts a 60% survival rate and 0% attrition rate. The hand promotes itself as a staunch reminder of the laws of nature over nurture, and that's actually one of their credos. They believe that wholeheartedly. If he dies, he dies. The party has been afforded 3 days after their initiation. There's rites of commencement to revel as a reward for the dedication and commitment to the crafts. They are free to spend them however they would. In the game, they told me all about how they spent it. And it's also mentioned as the game is played that they all kind of kept segregated by craft. Wizards stick with wizards, and in their training are only accompanying their masters. They are not performing tasks even as lowly as rat removal in someone's basement with members of other creeds, to keep their dedication to their craft simple and clear and their focused.
So our characters did not know each other when we began.
Yeah, the characters had seen each other around Waters Deep, maybe been present when respective masters had conversations based on other dealings and goings on, but they themselves were not afforded the right to speak to their compatriots until the rites of initiation. And the party began on their first day, being recruited by Garuk, the lizard man, which is a very badly plagiarized name. I was on the spot. I should have thought of it before. But it's a good name, good strong name. A black-skinned lizard man, a giant black-skinned lizard man who is exceptionally strong, who is the captain of the Heart of Gold. The ship here, the Heart of Gold, the ship that they were commissioned to take a prisoner for an exchange with some more a prisoner transfer, and were to collect a chest reward in return. It was a day and a half's travel. You can watch the game and see how that took place and where the party is going to end up in the predicament that they end up in next game, as far as varying levels of protection and efficacy. That being said, did I miss anything there?
No, I think you did a good recap. You did a good ending. So it's a sad farewell to some of our well-established characters that made it up to level 13, but it's for the best that we didn't play those last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think so. I find, I try and run games past level 13, but they tend to fizzle. But I was engaged. I was engaged in the last game, and I'm sorry to see it go. I wanted to see how it was all going to play out.
Yep.
But we had to nuke it from orbit.
It's for the best.
The only way to be sure.
It was for the best.
And so I actually get to use my palm trees. I haven't had the opportunity. I've had these palm trees made for years and never had an opportunity to throw them out. So I kind of went overboard. I don't think I needed quite so many palm trees on the setup, but
it provided cover.
Yeah, in case it needed it.
Yep. So I think that's a good recap. And again, guys, we're all still friends here and everything like that. We had the first new adventure. It went really well. And we'll be posting that up shortly. But to sum it up, it's the end of the level 13 characters and a new start.
The end of, what would we name that one? Shimoda?
We were in the midst of Time-Torn Travelers, kind of that series of the arc that we were at, which kind of concluded, but at the same time never really concluded, because we'd just been playing that one for how many years were we playing that one?
That one we played for 3 years.
3 years we were going with those characters. I think so. I think it was 3 years. But we're still the same group, so I mean, it's still, as far as I'm concerned, that timeline is still going on. Just, it's not the same timeline. Yeah. We're restart. Everything is a blank slate again. Back to start, I guess you could say. And
yeah, Session 0, level 3 characters. Level 3 is a good place to start for people who are used to playing level 13 characters. People, once again, remember what it's like to be vulnerable. Which
I love it. I love it, actually. I love the low level starts, man.
The whole party almost got murked by the one bad. Not even a big bad, just a one bad. Just a one bad. I figured a CR4 for a level 5 NPC and the 4 potentially engaged level 3 characters was a fair challenge.
Yeah,
It was
well,
quite the challenge.
you guys should watch it. It was good. It was a good little sesh, and we'll post that right after this one here because it's in the books, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And if you guys enjoy watching this kind of thing, I mean, we just do it for our own reference. But hey, if you guys like it, give a like, share, subscribe, leave a comment every now and then.
Yeah. We appreciate all feedback, and if people want to know how or like the setups or want to know anything about anything, reach out, send a message.
Maybe we can even have a DM Adam day when he talks about his painting techniques or something, gets a little bit off
crafting.
of the...
Hey, if people see something they like these tiles, want to know how to make these tiles or anything, I'm not like one of the pros by any stretch, but I get by.
It still looks good. If you guys have been with us for these past 3 years, it still looks good. Yep. All right, DM Adam, you got anything else to say? Redtail Rogues. Let's wrap it up.
Cheers. Cool. Merry Christmas.
Until next time, Merry Christmas, everyone.